Okay, hello and welcome to the Rookie Empire training tutorial. We're going to go over a bunch of stuff here, so if you're looking for a particular part, go ahead and skip forward. This is basically going to be an all-around Eve settings guide. We're going to cover things like the display, chat audio channels, the general settings in the escape menu, shortcuts, your neocon, how to set that up, set up your skills so that way they're showing correctly, inventory settings, mail settings, the fitting browser, and the market, window placement, UI setup with the capacitor, overview setup, and advanced overview with colors as well. I'll go over that real quick. It's pretty useful, I think. The find fleet window, how to use that and how to set that up as well. So let's jump right in. The first thing a lot of people, or I think everybody that's new should do, is go ahead and set their window to full screen under the display graphics to fixed window. This will allow you to tab out to other things like Internet Explorer or other programs quickly. And the second thing that everybody should do, or this is kind of a, you can do it, but a lot of people prefer to do it, so I'd say do it, is uncheck camera shake. It's one thing a lot of people complain about when they're in the heat of battle and your camera's shaking all over the place. You can't click on things to lock onto them. It makes it annoying. So that's it for display and graphics. Obviously set everything here for your system so it runs smoothly. On the audio portion, what we're going to do is we're going to check off move last speaker to top, and also enable channel priority muting. This way, if you're not in a channel, it's going to be muted a little bit. I'll go over that a little more later on, but so let's move on then. General settings. Something I always check. I do a lot of null sec and 00 and low sec, so show session. I can't talk this morning. Session change timer. I just woke up, mind you. Session change timer. Basically, when you jump through a gate, you have a session change timer. You are not allowed to jump back through the gate that you just came through. So if you jump into a fleet, you want to hold your cloak by not moving or not doing anything. Spin the camera around and get ready to burn back the gate if there's a huge crew there or fleet waiting for you. If you know you can take a hit or two, let them hit you once or twice and then jump out. It'll prevent them from following you. But that's another tutorial entirely. So session change timer, definitely check that. Another one that really annoys me, I don't know why it's on by default, is show targeting crosshairs. What this does, it extends 4 lines in all directions off of every target you have locked. When you have 10 targets locked on a screen, that's going to pose a bit of a mess, so uncheck that. And the only other thing I definitely recommend everybody do is auto target back set to 0. This will prevent a hot locked weapon. Hot lock meaning I go activate a module, I don't have anything locked yet. Somebody locks me, my ship auto locks somebody else, and suddenly my weapon's firing at him and I didn't even try to fire at him. So always set that to 0. You don't want to kill your teammates. So alright. The next portion we're going to go through is shortcuts. These are optional. You don't have to do them. First one that I always set is the toggle lock. The only way to do this, unfortunately, is to change the lock target shortcut under combat here to something else. So I put it as number 1 for now, and toggle lock as control. And you will see why a little later. Actually, I'll tell you now. What it allows you to do is hold control and click things to lock them. And once you have a bunch of things locked on the top of the screen, you can control and click on those up on the top, and it'll actually unlock them, instead of what CCP does by default is you have to click on them, right click on them I mean, and then unlock them. So then just right click here and clear the target lock, not the toggle lock, but the target lock. Clear that shortcut so it doesn't confuse you or mess you up later on. Another thing they do for the drones, I do recommend doing this so you don't lose your drones a lot, is set these shortcuts here, the top 3. Obviously I'm going to use something for myself that I'm happy with. You can use different shortcuts, but for drones engage I use arrow up. Drones return in orbit I use arrow left, and drones returning to the drone bay I use arrow down, because it's very easy to remember and doesn't pose any problems for me, so hopefully it works for you. Okay, the next thing I want to do, you're going to see the screen probably go black when I close this. It does it all the time, so I'll wait there for it to load. I got fraps running, so it's a little slower. Alright, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is the neocom over here. By default, it's okay. There's not everything you need on it, and it is customizable, and they don't really show you that much. I'm not sure if they do in the tutorial. It's been a very long time since I've done it. If you're newer in the game, I'd recommend maybe leaving these 2 buttons here, the help and the tutorial button, on there. But for myself, I'm going to remove them. I don't want them in there. Alright. Now what CCP did is made this customizable, so you can actually go in and drag different buttons into the bar on the left. So 2 things I always move is the contracts button, and I'll put that right below the market button. It's the one with the little money and above the scientist. And then the other one I move is the fleet button, and I will stick that right below corp, which is the 5 stars here above the space map. And I will definitely show you how to use those a little later on as well. I drag this over here. It's preference. You can make them as big as you want, or make it just big enough to have your stuff in there, but I make it small. And lock neocon. It's in a little makes it so you can't accidentally drag it. Say, no longer can I make it bigger or smaller. So that's the neocon, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the things in the neocon now and actually show you how to set those up correctly. So the first thing is the skills. First and foremost, when you click on your thing, clicks. I'm going to open it through here, but the first thing in skills, under settings, you're going to see here that, guess what? Under leadership, all I have is this one leadership skill. I happen to train it all the way up, but I don't see any other leadership skills to train, which is kind of surprising to me. And by default, Eve does this. They hide a bunch of skills from you. So what we're going to do is go into settings, and you can either do 2 things. You can show all skills. This is the way I play. Or show only the skills that you can currently train. That's another way to do it, and you'll see the difference when we go over here. I can currently train all these skills, which is awesome. And you should train any skill at least at level 1, just so you have it. If you can afford it, obviously. Don't go out buying everything. And also highlight partially trained skills. a lot of times I'll be halfway through training a skill, decide I want to do something else, and leave that skill halfway trained. So there's a lot of times when you can just jump in there and go ahead and finish up a skill that you had already started, and for a very short period of time. It's a lot better, you know, basically saving you time. So your skill settings are done. We're going to click this button here to open training queue. What this training queue does, it allows you to train skills while you're gone. It will automatically switch. See, I'm training fuel conservation right now. And when that's done, target painting level 3 is going to start. And it's automatic, so I don't have to do anything other than drag skills I want in here. So I have at least 24 hours in there, and hit apply. That's it. It's done. My training queue is all set to go. So, and it's in the yellow, so I know I've already partially started training it, which is good. I'll finish that up real quick. So let's close that out, and we can go ahead and close this out as well. There's also a bio in here. A lot of people don't know, and you can use bios for all kinds of stuff. People do a little role playing sometimes. They'll put stuff in here, or they'll put links for different things. That's a 21-day buddy trial, and also you can find us on RookieEmpire.com. So I'll close that. The next thing I'm going to do is the inventory settings. This is some recent changes they made to the game. Alt-C is the shortcut for it, but I'm going to use the button on the Neocon for this one. Matter of fact, for the sake of this tutorial, I will make these buttons bigger so you can kind of get used to what they are. So this is the inventory button. Looks like a little cargo container that's been opened up. So you click that, and you'll see how to use this. It's kind of confusing. There's a lot of little things, but we'll go to item hanger, and you see there's a kind of mix mash of everything in one spot. So I'm gonna click ammunition. You can filter what you want to find right here. It kind of helps, but it's not a be-all end-all solution. The other thing you can do is drag your item hanger outside of that box. So this way you can, open up different cargoes and drag stuff to and from, or open up a fitting window and drag stuff to and from. It kind of helps a little bit. Something somebody showed me recently that helps is to check this box here. It says always open in separate windows. So if I drag my ship window over here, that'll open in one window. If I drag this window here, that'll open in another. This way you can get to them really easily. Like, let's open cargo, or if I do my fittings now, I can get to them. I can drag stuff. I can actually get in here and do stuff what I need to do, instead of like being in here and I want to move some of this into the Jaguar, and I don't have enough room for that. It's kind of annoying. Or, hey, I want to move this into my hauler. Oh wait, where's my hauler? Oh dang it, these things moved around. See how annoying that is? So that's why we drag the windows open over other areas. So we'll close all that. That's the easiest setting to fix. The next one is the mail settings. By default, Eve actually charges every player in the game to contact every other player in the game. So we're going to change that in the mail settings here in this mail button under settings. CSPA charge, I always set it to 0. I don't recommend blocking unknown characters because you could miss out on a lot of opportunities that way. So we'll hit apply. Now, actually, you know what? I'm going to tell you when to put this to 1,000,000 while we're here. Say somebody kills you, or you kill him. If they open a chat with you and they start taunting you or doing anything of that sort, go ahead and taunt him back, just to provoke him so he wants to talk to you. Say anything, anything crazy, just to get his attention and get him to want to taunt you more. Then close the window, the chat box that you have with him, and set this to 1,000,000. And then if he's, if you taunt him or at the point where he wants to open that window, open a window, he will do what every other player in Eve does when they get a window, and they will get a little pop-up that says, oh, blah, 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 you just cost so-and-so money in order to talk to this person. And the thing is, the default is 2,000, like 2,000 ISK. It's under 3,000 ISK. It's tiny, and most older players are like, whatever, yes, next, whatever, yes. And a lot of times they'll open a whip window and you keep taunting them and closing the windows, and they'll just hit next, yes, yes, yes. And next thing you know, they're missing 30 million from their wallet. It's kind of a troll. I don't promote that, but if it's somebody annoying you or somebody's taunting you, then go ahead and use it. The next thing I'm going to do is the fitting. How to use the fittings a little bit. You'll see it's on both sides. I don't know why. If you're in station, you're going to be able to use fitting tools. So you can remove it here if you want, but I'm going to open it. Couple things in here is one, you can change this to show your armor rate, your passive shield regen, or your shield boost. It also shows your effective DPS right now and your effective hit HP. One thing you can do is, that a lot of people don't know, is save fittings. So I can save this fitting right here, put a name in, save it for corp or personal, hit save, and then that's it. Later on I can browse fittings and say I go in retribution. I don't have this fitting saved, so that's a good example. We'll save this, browse, and now I have the Jaguar in here. Now I can either, if I have all the stuff I need to make that fitting work in my inventory, I can hit fit and it'll fit the ship for me, minus these here, because these get destroyed when you take them off. So alright, that's pretty much it for the fitting window. We'll teach you more. You'll learn more how to fit ships in a different tutorial. So the next thing is the market. It's right here on the left. We'll open this up, and there's a couple things that you need to change in here, and I will show you why. By default, it's going to show you the station. Your range filter is set to the station, and most likely on the bottom it says show only available. This does two things. It removes clutter. That's it. It's meant so that way you don't have a million things showing up in market right away to confuse you. But I like to see what's out there and what's available and what prices are available at. So I'm going to hit show all, uncheck show only available, and region is my filter now. And you'll see that a lot of more things showed up here. And while I'm in here, I'm just going to use materials as an example because I have some stuff in materials on the market. So excellent, that's good. Alright, so you see the market here. I always recommend sort by price and then look for the closest. That's the best way to in my opinion. Obviously, you can take 8 jumps to go over here to save 1 ISK, or, you know, 0.10 ISK on every item, which is kind of okay, but it's a waste of my time because I'm not going to go 7 jumps to pick up and save that much money. It's not worth my time. But the main thing I'm going to show you is in the settings. The settings for market, what you want to do is change the range filter, which I've already showed you, and also mark my orders. It marks your orders in blue. So this way, see these 2 orders here? Those are mine. I put them on the market. So now I know they're mine. I won't buy from myself. That doesn't make sense. You know, I'll just modify my orders. Looks like I doubled them up there. So that's it for the settings and the market. Window placement is another thing that I do want to kind of go over. I'll undock here to show you why. It saves you a bunch of screen space. Yeah, undock. So you see how everything is right now. It's kind of just floating out there. Drag that down. There you go. Makes it a little easier to see what's going on. I always set these to pinned. The unpin and pin button makes them transparent. This way I can kind of see what's going on even in the background. Okay. The reason I brought it outside is actually to show you some other stuff. And this stuff's pretty simple, and it'll make your life a little easier. You see all these things down here? That's a lot of different buttons. Some of them are passive modules, so I can't do anything with them anyway. So what I'm going to do, you see the 4 little lines, their version of settings. I'm going to click that. I am going to go to hide passive modules, and also make sure this says show activation timers. If it says hide activation timers, that means you're already showing activation timers, so that's fine. You see the little white bar traveling around? That lets me know when the module is going to finish its cycle. It's very useful sometimes. And the other thing they have in here is audio alerts. I recommend setting these shield at 30, because if you're going below 30% shield and you're a shield tank, you're in trouble. Armor, I say always 50, and I raise these towards the higher end so I get a warning earlier. And hull breach at 99%. Because if you're breaching your hull, then there's a problem. You shouldn't be breaching hull. And that's pretty much it for this. I'll go over these other buttons here in a later tutorial. What I want to do is actually go over the overview setup. Now, silly me, I didn't go ahead and grab the URL first, so you will have to excuse me for a second while I grab that. Just going on Google Drive to go ahead and grab the file. Pretty sure I got it in my Eve. There we go. Alright. Now what I did was I downloaded the XML file that's required to import an overview setting. And I'm going to save that in Documents under Eve. And if it's not already there, I'm going to create a folder called capital O for Overview. All one word, lowercase, the rest of the way. Alright, so capital O, everything else is lowercase, Overview. And in that folder I'll save the XML, which allows me then to go into game here, and we will import the overview, and I'll show you how to do that. On the right hand side is your overview. When you select things, you have the options up top. You could also right click to do any of those options. Say you select something, like to lock on to something, and then you press F1, F2, Control F1, Control F2, Alt F1, and Alt F2. As you see, they'll I can actually show you here. I don't have any empty modules right now, so that's a good thing. But I normally would show you a bunch of spaces here. So you can either unlock, but since I have toggle lock on, I can hold Control, click it, and it's unlocked. Simple as that. Instead of right clicking, unlock, and if you got a bunch of stuff here and you're switching through real quick, you're like, unlock, 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 click, Control click, done. Easy, simple. Should be default in Eve, but it's not. So let's import this overview, shall we? On the top left, you see the overview, general. I'm gonna click that and go to Open Overview Settings. Now on the Appearance tab, there's two things you're probably going to want to do. One, let me reset this so we can show you from the start. One is your fleet. I always recommend leave these as is, but drag Outlaw above the black skull, the red skull is above the black skull, and the yellow skull is below the red skull. In HiSec, uncheck these. Actually, in HiSec you can check these. Kind of lets you know if they're pirates or not. In NullSec or LowSec, there's really no need for them, especially when you get later in the game. But for now, I'll say leave them like that. The other thing is drag the neutral standing below the orange bad standings, and no standing below the neutral standing. I say check neutral standing, no standing as well. It's the same thing. Neutral and no standing. You don't know the person, they're neutral to you. So that's where I put them. Makes things easy for me. Alright. In my case, I'm an older person. I don't really care if they're a pirate, so I'll uncheck those. Alright. I also like using small color tags and small font in my overview, but that's personal preference, and you don't have to do it. Alright. So let's go ahead and get this overview imported. So when you click on overview, you're going to go ahead and click import overview settings. I'm going to put the link for an overview called Inferno overview. It's just the basic PvP, mining, PvE, drones, and loot. Okay, now we're going to click import, and you'll see on the top left hand side you have PvP, PvE, drones, mining, and we're going to make one for loot a little later. I'll show you how, so this way you know how to do it as well. Alright. The cool thing about importing an overview though is all these are set. This is mining, this is drones, PvE, and PvP. Now the idea behind these tabs, and here's what I'm going to do actually. Up in overview settings, I'm going to show you a quick way. I'm going to just do this really quick. So I'm going to actually add colors to these so they're very easy to distinguish from each other. So greater than color equals light red or pink, but in Eve's case it's light red. less than sign, the PvP word itself, and then greater than backslash color less than. So I'll do these real quick. Light blue. Light green. This will make it really easy to see these once I'm done, and you'll see why I'm doing it. You don't have to do this, but color, there we go. And on the last one, I'm gonna click loot. Just already in there. Overview profile. And that's it. So drop down box, loot, overview loot, and I'm gonna leave loot white so you can see it. Hit apply, and look at the overview. Red, blue, green, yellow, white. Got the loot, the mining, got the drones, PvE with all the rats and stuff, PvP with all my enemies, player enemies that is, for PvP obviously. So most of the time you'll probably use the PvE setting. You can still see some enemies on there, but only neutrals. It's not a big problem. Alright, your overview's done. That's it. Let me show you. I mean, pretty much that's it. You can go in about, you'll see rats on your PvE section. You kill them. You have drones in a separate window just in case you need to go ahead and shoot at drones or something stupid while you're in PvP. So it's not all mixed up with your players that you're trying to shoot at. You have a mining tab for if you want to go mine. A looting tab for if you're trying to scoop loot. And that's it. Real simple. There are other overview setups, obviously, and you know, I do recommend going and checking those out. You may like those. But for now, for this tutorial, this is going to work for you. Alright? So, the only other thing I do want to show you, I think it's imperative to the success of this game, is a couple different things. One, here's my corp mates. If I right click on any of these guys, I can actually go ahead and add contacts. You have to set a standing to add a contact, but what you would do is say he's my friend, I'm gonna put him in good standing, I'm gonna add him to the watch list. And no, I'm not gonna send him a notification this time, but next time I will. See on the bottom right, a little green thing came up with his name. It lets you know when your friends are online. It's something they don't really show you right away in the game either. So I'm gonna remove him from my list of contacts because I have a full list of contacts anyway. Alright. Now there's two things I had you move over here is contracts. I'll show you that in a different tutorial, but fleet is very important. There's probably a fleet up right now. Let me check. See my available fleets. Find. Oh, nothing right now, which is sad puppy. But usually there'll be fleets in here, especially depending on what corp or alliance you're with. My corp normally has a standing fleet at any given time. And then you have your advert. For demonstration, I'm going to actually farm a fleet with myself. Okay. Now there's something about this fleet window that is very interesting that they do by default is they make it show up as a list. It's fail. If I have a list of people and somebody's like, it's just no good. It's not good. So we right click. I usually set free move. This is an option that allows people to promote themselves to squad commanders. Now the thing with squad commanders is they can invite people into fleet, and they can also warp their squad. So you want to be careful with this setting. It can get, your squad gets warped off to the enemy base, and your rest of your fleet is sitting there not moving. That's an issue. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and set this to view as hierarchy. And you'll see a change in the window. Now I'm a squad leader, but I created the fleet. I don't have any leadership roles, so skills, but I'm gonna move myself to fleet commander just to hold on to this fleet and keep control of it. And you can create new squads under that wing, so you can get 10 people in a squad. And there's no limit for new characters, can create as many as they need. And I can create another wing as well. Create up to 5 wings full of 5 squads for a total of 250 people per fleet. So it's pretty decent size. I think it's 250. I may be wrong on that, but that is it. Okay. The other thing in here for history is a broadcast. People will broadcast different things, especially fleet commanders. Say I'll broadcast, one big thing they do is align. Now, pretty easy. Timestamp on the bottom. Right click, align. Done. You've done what the fleet commander says. Awesome. And you see the little 2 arrows. Kind of shows you align to, align to. I'm going to stop my ship now, and I'm going to put a different broadcast in there. Let's see here. Let's go to load bracket, show all. Load bracket, show all. Yeah, I like showing all sometimes. Especially if I'm not in huge battle. Huge battles, you get too many brackets and it slows everything down. You can't see what's going on. So I'm going to broadcast, and my PvP tab, I'm going to broadcast Warp 2. So see the broadcast showed up, Warp 2. The top broadcast is going to be the most recent. You can use this as a list to kind of keep track of what was given and what was going on. And then right click down here on Warp 2. And you see I'm warping. Pretty simple. I'm going to stop my ship just so I don't go warping off in the middle of nowhere. And that pretty much concludes the tutorial. We have go over everything that we just went over. We set up your display. We set up your chat audio channels, which I'll actually show you now. One last thing. Under the top left here you got chat channels. Say somebody invites you to a chat channel. It's under player channels in here. This is something I think they should show you. Or you can type in the name of the channel and join it, or create one. But chat channels, I will find our current recruiting channel. And you see here, message of the day, but they use the different settings button. Now, there's a couple things I do in Eve, and it is show compact member lists, so no portraits. This is a preference, you can do it the other way. Under settings, I do text only to save space. Highlight my messages, and you can show timestamp. That's up to you. But let's say hello in here. You'll see mine is highlighted. There's 47 people in the room. And to join audio, just simply click the little settings icon. Click join audio. You can also join audio in other rooms. Now, you'll see one's blue and one is red. I'm actively speaking here, and that's why it's red. A hotkey for in-game is different for talking than it is for TeamSpeak and other recording stuff. If you hit escape under audio, you can set that button, and also set what you're recording and playback buttons are, or playback devices are. To change which one you're speaking in, just click settings, make speaking channel, and that's it. So pretty simple, easy to use. And the other thing I made you set was the move last speaker to top in the audio settings. I made you do that earlier. So whenever someone speaks, they'll move to the top of the channel, and you'll be able to see who's speaking right away. And they'll move down the list as they don't speak, and other people speak on top of them. So it's very useful, and something that they probably should have done as a default as well, but they didn't. So that's why we're making this tutorial. So, alright, that is it. Thank you very much for taking time and listening. I hope this helps you a lot in Eve, and I hope you come out and spend some time with the Rookie Empire. I'm not asking you to join, but we do run fleet ops out here and help people get standing, and we always answer questions in the Eve HOIP and the Eve help, Eve voice help channel here that you see on the bottom left. So, alright, thank you for your time. You have a very nice day.